Welcome. This video reviews the addition of Unify devices to the OpenScape cloud. In the demonstration, we create OpenScape voice subscriber records for 2 employees and associate the appropriate Unify SIP device for each employee. In our case, we will use an OpenScape desk phone CP600 and an OpenScape desk phone IP55G. Please note that the process is similar across all supported Unify devices. This makes for a simple, consistent administration procedure. It looks like we need to add telephones for 2 new employees. Joe Adams requires international privilege, and Ann Page requires national privilege. Excellent. We have the DID numbers listed. By the way, there are instances where the telephone number used is not a DID number. It's just up to the individual use case. Our process will be the same. Finally, we have the Unify SIP devices required for each of our subscribers. Let's log on to the Circuit Administration portal. I'm going to enter my email and click Next. Now I'm going to enter my password. Since this is my computer, I'm going to check private so the credentials are stored for the website. Checking or unchecking this entry is up to the individual company and their security policies. Let's click Sign In. You'll now see that I'm connecting to Circuit, and it will show my name upon logon. Let's click on my username, Cliff Bookbinder, and access Administration. Unify Enterprise V are the cloud licenses we will use for this demonstration. Right now, we have 135 of our 200 licenses available. Only 65 licenses are taken. Now, let's add the subscriber record for Joe Adams. We click on Users and invite Single User. A screen arises that allows us to enter the first name, Joe, last name, Adams, and email address, applicationbuilder@gmail.com. We pick the appropriate license for our integration. A check mark shows what's chosen. I'm going to leave the checked Unify Enterprise V license for my environment. In your environment, click on the appropriate license entry to associate the license to the subscriber. When done, click Add. The screen switches to display the user created in the Circuit Administration portal. An email is sent to the user inviting them to establish a password for logon to Unify Circuit. Notice that the font is gray. This means that the subscriber has not yet logged in to establish a password. We will look at the link sent to Joe, inviting him to establish a password later. Now, we click on Assign Number to assign a telephone number and other cloud telephony parameters for the subscriber. Notice that Joe's invitation is pending because he has not logged in to establish a circuit password. We also see Joe's license, and he is not an administrator. We assign the phone number, which in our case is a DID number on the OpenScape cloud system. Notice that the number grays out after we select it. This means it is no longer an available number for our subscribers. Let's click OK to accept our entry. Joe requires international privilege for his call permissions. We will leave caller ID blank, which means that the public phone number will be used for display purposes. If we hover over the information box, additional detail is provided about caller ID. For desk phone, we choose Unify Phone and save. Notice that there are now additional fields on the bottom of our Subscriber Edition screen that appeared after we clicked Save. For now, we need to note the deployment pin and security pin. We will use both of those when we plug Joe's phone into his office. Also, notice the desk phone is not deployed. That will change once we plug the CP600 in and enter the appropriate pins. Finally, on the bottom of our page, we see Suspend User, which blocks access to the Circuit account and the ability to make or receive calls. It is gray right now because Joe has not logged into Circuit. Delete User deletes the subscriber record and factory resets the associated Unify device if it is deployed. Now, let's add an page. We are on Joe's subscriber record, so we have to click the arrow on the upper left side of our screen to get back to the page to add a user. The process is the same. We click Invite Single User and fill in the first name, Ann, last name, Page, and email address, apage4927@gmail.com, and choose the appropriate license for our environment. We then click Add. Now, we will assign number to assign a telephone number and other cloud telephony parameters for Ann. By the way, you can click anywhere on the user information line to execute this activity. Let's select Ann's DID number. Let's now assign the call permission of National. We'll not assign a caller ID. I'll pick Unify phone for her OpenScape desk phone IP55G, and we'll save our work. We now need to note the deployment pin and security pin. We'll use both of those after we plug in Ann's phone into her office. The desk phone is not deployed. That will change once we plug in the OpenScape desk phone IP55G and enter the appropriate pins. I unboxed Joe's CP600 and plugged it into an RJ45 port receiving power over Ethernet, PoE. You're watching a shortened, edited version of the CP600 booting up. The RJ45 has a public-facing side, which requests a DHCP address. If I were reusing a device that had configured data, I would factory reset it to its default state. All Unify SIP devices go through a similar boot-up process, so, to save time, we will not video boot up for Ann's OpenScape desk phone 55G. The device first requests Joe's deployment pin that we receive when configuring Joe's subscriber record. We enter the deployment pin. On the device, you'll see several status messages to inform you of progress. A few seconds pass, and the CP600 now requests Joe's security pin, which we received when we configured Joe's subscriber record. We input the security pin, and the device shows pin accepted. You will see a number of error messages, and then the device will register. The pin that is generated is a single-use, one-time pin. It is generated in this manner to maximize security. Entering this unique pin at the device allows the telephone to receive its configuration and updates from the cloud deployment server. Your device may ask for a terminal number. Do not enter a terminal number for your cloud deployment. The terminal number is provided automatically based upon the subscriber record entry within the Circuit Administration portal. Let's summarize the process of deploying any unified device by looking at Ann's subscriber record. When we created Ann's subscriber record, we selected Unify phone for the desk phone field. Once we click Save, we receive the unique, secure deployment pin, and security pin in the subscriber record. We plug in Anne's factory reset OpenScape Desk Phone 55G into our DHCP network. The device prompts you for your deployment pin and security pin. So, for any supported Unify device, all we need to do is plug in the factory reset device, enter the deployment pin when prompted, and enter the security pin when prompted. It's that simple. Let's search for Joe's subscriber record in the Circuit Administration portal. Notice that since Joe established a password for Circuit, his information is no longer gray. Let's click on Phone Number to see the details of Joe's record. Remember, this used to say Assign before we assigned the telephone number. We now see Joe's last login time instead of invitation pending since he's logged on to Circuit and established his password. We also see that Joe's desk phone status is deployed. The same status exists for Anne's phone. Let's discuss Regenerate Pins. Clicking Regenerate Pins will generate a new one-time use deployment pin and security pin for Joe's subscriber record. Regenerate Pins also triggers a factory reset of Joe's Unify device. This is useful if the device has to be replaced or perhaps changed to another telephone model. This is the email presented to Joe when his subscriber record is created in the Circuit Administration portal. We click Get Started to establish a password for Circuit. The name is entered for us based upon the name entry in the Circuit Administration portal. We enter a password to meet the hardened password requirements and check the Accept the Privacy, Acceptable Use Policy, and Forum rules. We can then click Join the Circuit domain. We can add a profile picture if we want. I'm going to skip this step. We can go through some circuit tips. I'll skip this. And finally, we're logged on to Circuit. Anne does not have administrator rights. She's a regular Circuit user. Anne will log on to a Circuit account in the same manner as Bob by entering her email, clicking Next, and entering her password and clicking Sign In. Notice Anne does not have administrative rights. If we click on Settings and Access Telephony, we can see her phone is deployed. If Anne clicked on Regenerate Pins and clicks Yes, a new deployment pin and security pin is generated. Her existing device is factory reset. This is useful if Anne receives a replacement device. She can just enter her deployment pin and security pin, and her new Unify device will be deployed. This concludes our OpenScape Cloud Subscriber Edition video.